Good day to the Shins and welcome to Tagum Doctors College. And this is again Teacher Anna, your learning partner. Last week we have learned about the effective use of words. Now we are going to have lesson number 5, which is diction, the effective use of sentences. So here or in this lesson, we are going to identify effective transitions from one sentence to the next in a creative writing piece and employ these effective transition words in creative writing. So in writing in writing sentences, you need to remember those varied ways of writing it and even its components. So always remember that a paragraph is composed of sentences with the same structure all throughout. Will sound monotonous. So if ever guys, if our paragraph has the same structure, so from top to bottom, so it would be or it will sound monotonous. So parang wala siya gana no? Kanang ano lang siya. It talks about the same thing again and again. So that's why sentence variety is essential as it can add rhythm and life to your writing. So it can also help emphasize parts that you want to highlight. So if you are very creative in writing something, then you can also emphasize the parts that you want to highlight. And then you need also to reduce repetition. Okay, avoid redundancy. Below are some varied ways of writing sentences. So in writing sentences, you need to know what is your subject and your verb. For example, the old man forgot to lock his car. So here, the um, subject here is the man or the old man. And the verb here is forgot. So it talks about past tense or past events because we use forgot. Now here is adjective. So we can also use adjectives. So para bigyan ng kulay ang ating mga sentences. So for example, defeated and defenseless. The lawyer shrugged his shoulders and left the room. So in that way, it is more colorful and it is dali lang siya masabtan at the same time makatakaw basa siya sa ato ang mga readers. Now, let's have the prepositional phrase. So we can also use prepositional phrase. So for example, in front of millions of people, the folk knelt and prayed. So we also use here prepositional phrase in front of millions of people. Now we also have infinitive phrase. So for example, we can say, to put a final touch, the chef garnished the recipe with parsley. So, ganina katong sa sugod to siya prepositional phrase. Now we have infinitive phrase. So this one we are going to talk about, or in the first phrase we are going to talk about the final thing that happened, or kanang sa last na ba nga step kumbaga. So that's why here in our example, to put a final touch. Now, let's go to participial phrase. So, in writing sentences, you can also try to use this one. Okay? So, you can use this one, participial phrase. Ano yung participial phrase, ma'am? So, for example, we can say, watching with bated breath. Filipinos anticipated the announcement of the semi-finals or the semi-finalist. So, participi- participial praise talks about the thing that the reader or even the one you are talking about is what is his or her participation. So just like the watcher or uh, the Filipinos who watch the semifinalist, so it talks about them. So like watching with bated breath. Okay, now let's go to adverb clause. So in adverb clause, you need also to use this to make your sentences varied. So, for example, here we have before the clock struck midnight, Cinderella hurriedly returned home. So, we use here before the clock struck midnight. So, mas ano siya, mas colorful with using adverb clause. Next is the subject with a positive praise. So, subject with a positive praise talks about the landlady, an old and bejeweled dame, knocked on Mrs. Potts' door. So here we have the subject with a positive praise. So meaning you are going to talk about the subject. Here it it talks about the landlady and it talks about a positive praise, which is an old and bejeweled dame. Next is the one word transition. So you can also use one word transition so that your writing will become varied. So, for example, ultimately, freedom is what we are fighting for. So, here the one word transition that we use is the word ultimately. Next, we can also use transitional phrase. So, ito yung pinaka kanang commonly used in the writing or in the author world. So this is the use of transitional praise. So for example, we can say, as a result, the casualty of the fire reached 20 dead people. So here the transitional praise is as a result. Next is inverted order. Inverted order example is within the vicinity of the country appeared a strange animal appeared a strange animal like figure. So here we have inverted order. So nauna yung last kaysa sa sa nag-una. So mao na siya ang mga common po dun sa mga movie no. Pakita daan ang kanang climaxed na scene before it will go to the story itself. So you can also use that. That is inverted order. For example, within the vicinity of the country appeared a strange animal like figure. So, just like that. Now, let's go to transitions in sentences. So, these are the common ways so that our transition or our writing would be varied. At the same time, it is also the connector from one stage to another stage. So here we have differentiated transition words. Also in your book, we also have some examples in page 29 about transitions. Okay, so we have page 29 to 30. Here, you can use these transition words if you are going to emphasize, okay? Going to emphasize, you can use undoubtedly, unquestionably, obviously, particularly or in particular, especially, clearly, importantly, absolutely, definitely, without a doubt. Indeed, it should be noted. So this is an example of a transition word using emphasis. Now let's go to addition. So if you are going to add something in your sentences, then you need to use this transition word. For example, along with, apart from this, moreover, furthermore, also, to, as well as that. Besides, in addition, not only, but also. In addition to this, additionally, and additional. So when you want to, or if you want to add some ideas about the sentence or about the paragraph or the topic itself, so you need to use this addition transition words. Now, in contrast, or kung gusto ka mo gamit og opposite niya, so you can use unlike, nevertheless. On the other hand, nonetheless, despite or in spite of, in contrast, contrary to, whereas, alternatively, conversely, even so, differing from. Now we also have order, so you can use order to when you want to order something. Okay, for example, like the first to the last, from top to bottom. So this is the transition word that you need. For example, we have following, at this time, previously, first, firstly, second, secondly, third, thirdly, and so on, those numbers. Next, we also have finally, subsequently, above all, before, last but not the least, first and foremost. So you can use these transition words for this kind of sentences. So if you want to emphasize or give emphasis into something, so you can use these transition words. If you want to add something about the idea or the topic, then you need to use these transition words. And if you want to talk about its opposite or the negative things of it, then you need to use this contrast or contrasting ideas. Next is if you are going to talk about order or steps, then you can use this transition words. Okay? So that would be all, Tadashians. Thank you so much for listening for my topic today. So that is for lesson 5. Now let's go to lesson number 6. Always remember to do your best. God bless, Tadashians. See you.